SBL. Please, a round of applause for Mr. Wigwe. Let me now introduce our Okay. Sorry, there's a lost but found phone. If it's yours, please do pick it up from the Leonard Silk. You left it in the washroom. Please reach out to him. Sorry for the break. So let me quickly welcome the moderators for today's session. Our chief moderator is Mr. Olayode Delano, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Mr. Delano is a distinguished legal practitioner and partner at Akin Delano Legal Practitioners, where he leads the corporate and commercial transactions practice. A top graduate of University College of London in 1989, he was called to the Nigerian Bar in 1990 and gained extensive experience at Strachan Partners and George Etomi & Co. before joining ALP. With expertise in mergers and acquisitions, capital markets, and corporate finance, he is a member of the Capital Market Solicitors Association of Nigeria, IPFA, IBA, and the Institute of Directors, Nigeria. He also holds an MBA with specialization in finance. Please make welcome Mr. Olayode Delano. Please, a round of applause for him. And the co-moderator for this session is Denen Ikia. Mr. Denen is a seasoned legal practitioner with over 2 decades of experience specializing in corporate governance, dispute resolution, construction and infrastructure law, mergers and acquisition, and commercial transaction. A skilled negotiator and deal maker, he holds degrees and certifications from the University of Abuja, the College of Law of England and Wales, Nexford University, and Harvard, among others. He is a notary public of the Supreme Court of Nigeria and a member of several prestigious legal and industry bodies, including the Nigerian Bar Association, the International Bar Association, and the Institute of Construction Industry Arbitrators. He has served in various leadership roles, including chairman of the Commercial and Business Law Committee of the MBA Abuja branch and member of the Ethics Committee of the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, FIA. His extensive legal advisory work includes multi-million-dollar infrastructure projects, telecommunication deals, and public-private partnerships across Nigeria and the ECOWAS region. Currently, he is a partner at Crest Hill Law Office. Please make welcome co-moderator, Mr. Denen Ikia. As you can see, it's a loaded panel, and I'll quickly, for want of time, hand over the mic to the chief moderator to take it up. Thank you.
No trouble. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this first plenary session. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and it's a pleasure for me to recognize the efforts of my good brother, Andrew. I was chairman before him of this committee, but he has put me to disgrace. This conference, fantastic, well done. We had the first one about 2 or 3 years ago, hence the 2.0. We had it in Calabar under the leadership of Rabana SAN. I then took over for a couple of years, and Andrew has taken us to newer heights. No protocol required. I think all our distinguished guests have pretty much left, but I recognize everybody here and pay appropriate homage. We don't have a lot of time because, as you can see from the program, we were supposed to start about 11:55. We're now 1 1:35. So we're going to have to cut this down a little bit. I think we have 1 hour we've been given. But I just want to say that we're in for a very interesting session. Our panelists, you can see the topics to which they're going to speak. They cover the range of those issues, some of which have been identified by some of the people passing goodwill messages. To put my own color on the proceedings, I just wanted to say one or two things, which is that essentially, it is important for us to change our mindset regarding this infrastructure development issue. And I say that because if we don't think outside of the box, we're going to have the same result that we have been having over and over again for so many years. This is not the first quote-unquote talk shop about infrastructure deficit and things of that nature. But I think fundamentally the attitude of government needs to change. And government needs to realize that if you're not being sincere about the issues that are identified, it's all very well to say that there are potholes, but you've got to know that you have to solve the problem fundamentally. And fundamentally, I think those problems come from government not realizing that PPP, and I'm sure the DG of PPP will talk a little bit about this, is actually a procurement method. It's simple procurement. It's not, you're not doing favors for anybody. You're just saying, we want to buy this road. And in order to do so, we have to create all the environment that is going to make that achievable. And if you don't create that environment, then you're never going to get a solution. And part of that, creating the environment, is changing the mindset from the normal procurement method, which is that you get a road and you say, contractor, come and bid, and the contractor comes and bids, and then you have the potential for the corruption and all these other things that have been identified, substandard work, etc., etc. Now, if you change the mindset, and you can't have infrastructure development without PPP as a procurement method, and you can't have successful PPP, one, without planning as a first step, hence project conception. If you don't have the planning and you yourself know that this is what I'm going to achieve, you can't get financing if you don't have PPP, and we know that government doesn't have the money to do it. So if you want to involve private sector, if you get the framework right, the private sector money will come in, the technology will come in, all these issues about that the representative of the Minister of Works was mentioning, financing, bureaucracy, dispute resolution, methodology, stakeholder buying, all these things ought to have been addressed at the conception stage, so that you don't actually get into it in the project delivery at all. That mindset needs to change, and that's my core view. You know, I attended a program at the International Law Institute in Washington a few years ago, and there's nothing that they emphasize more than that. And in that program, there were some people from NPA, ministries, etc., and we all understood it quite well. And that's why I say mind shift is necessary, because we can say everything we want here, but if we continue with the normal procurement method of just, here's a contract, most of which are led by the contractor himself, So it's a contractor who is saying, let me come and build. I mean, I don't want to use live examples because I don't really know. But if I say, for example, oh, we want to build Fourth Mainland Bridge, and the contractor comes and says, I want to build Fourth Mainland Bridge for you in Lagos. Well, you know he's going to load it, and you know he's going to do everything that he needs to do to make an unusual return. But if you say to him, I have measured the Third Mainland Bridge, I know the cost of building it is this, I'm going to toll it, and this is the money I'm going to give you a 50-year concession, not the arbitrary concessions that we award nowadays. And it's arbitrary because we don't even know what the offtake is. We don't know how much money the contractor is going to make. And those are the things that led to the failure of the Lekki Toll Road. You know, there was no stakeholder engagement, so the project conception was poor in the first place. I think that sort of sets the scene for what we want to do here. What we're going to do, I'm going to limit time. We have a sequence of speakers. I think Engineer Adeleke is not here. So we start with a paper from Engineer Oguntala, who's ably represented by Professor Ali. And then I'm going to ask you to quickly run through it, and we'll take all the speakers before we get into the question and answer in view of the time constraint, so that everybody has some time to present their paper. I think that's the way forward. So thank you all very much. I hope that we will learn some things and we will have opportunities. So note down what your questions are, what issues you want to raise, and then we can take them when all the speakers have presented. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, sir. On behalf of the President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Engineer Margaret Aina Oguntala, I want to thank the MBA for organizing this quality conference. But let me crave your indulgence, please, to stand on the well-laid and established protocols. We of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, we are so pleased to have the MBA SBL weigh in on this subject of national development titled Construction and Infrastructure Projects. Thank you so much. We are all in this country, and we know that lawyers particularly have very huge voice in national affairs. My people are quiet in a corner, solving problems, very quiet atmosphere. So when we have lawyers lauding this kind of subjects very clearly, it gives cause for joy. Thank you so much to the organizing committee. We appreciate you so much. Thank you. Let me start by saying that the position of infrastructure in Nigeria is not a palatable one. I am actually asked to speak on construction and infrastructure development in Nigeria, the opportunities and challenges. The position presently is a very grave one. And we just have an average achievement in terms of Nigerian infrastructure, which is actually at grade level F. And the percentage of infrastructure development is just 36%. I mean 36 out of 100. So by that, you will know that there is a lot of gaps. Number one, by whatever parameters we want to measure development in the Nigerian society, be it Human Development Index, be it Sustainable Development Goals, be it Vulnerability Index, or be it Global Competitiveness, the values are not so palatable. And we have, for Sustainable Development Index, just 0.548, which is just midway. Do I call it average? And then for Sustainable Development Goals, 54.58%. And then for Vulnerability Index, is quite low. How do we withstand pressures, impacts of things that challenge infrastructure development, like climate change, is also quite low. The value is just 0.462. And then when you talk of global competitiveness, one of the things that enable a nation to be competitive globally is that your infrastructure is rock solid, and our global competitiveness is just 48.33%. So you can see the position. But the joy of it all is that when the value is at what I have just told you, it means there is a lot to do. And that means opportunities, great opportunities, despite the challenges in this construction sector. And I like us to know that the major thing we require is not just haphazard development of infrastructure, but the word sustainable must be brought to bear. When we are talking of infrastructure, we have seen development that, by my reckoning, just meet probably political expediency. But when you talk of how sustainable such infrastructure actually is, they are not there. What then is infrastructure? They are actually physical facilities. I'm talking of engineering infrastructure now, because I am coming from the engineering point of view. Physical facilities that support the smooth running of any society. And by that, they turn into assets, national assets. You know, when you go to bank and you want a facility for anything, what they are going to ask you is, do you have property? Do you have assets? Do you have anything that we could lay hold on to be able to support you in such a way that you require? And those things are mostly tied to physical facilities, infrastructure, by the way. They could be houses, they could be roads, they could be waterworks, they could be airports. I'm talking of for the nation now, not individual. So when a nation is endowed with infrastructure, you look at it and you say, oh, how developed this nation is. You know, as a matter of fact, when you say it's a developed country and an underdeveloped country or a developing nation, in most cases, the parameter used are just the infrastructure that the country has accomplished. What then are the advantages of this infrastructure? It facilitates markets for goods and services, supports work and skill of people. It enables the diffusion of ideas and knowledge. And then it forms the major plank in the achievement of sustainable economic growth. That has been said loud and clear by almost all the people that spoke before I came to stage. It forms a major plank in the achievement of sustainable economic growth. That means the economic growth of this nation is actually where it is because of the level of our infrastructure. You know, but just like 6 and half a dozen, which one comes first? We need to develop our infrastructure because in doing that, it triggers further economic growth. Infrastructure promotes drastic reduction in the level of poverty in the country. We have all heard of living just with about $1 per day, which I thought and hoped by now it would have come to an end, but surprisingly, it hasn't. Construction and maintenance of infrastructure provides massive employment or job opportunities. When Barack Obama came to government, it was really, the economic position of America was really very challenging. And one of the things he quickly did was to engage in infrastructure development, and that brought quick money, quick development to the American society, provided jobs, the enabling conditions for the nation to actually thrive. So when we talk of opportunities in infrastructure development, we are talking of, number one, the infrastructure development finances that are available, the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund, be the Nigerian Infrastructure Debt Fund, be the Nigerian Infrastructure Fund, be the Infrastructure Bank that commenced in 2010, be the Chapel Hill Denham Nigeria Infrastructure Debt Fund. These are made available, and developers, infrastructure development can really latch on this to ensure that the country is taken to the level where it's supposed to be. What of the public-private partnership, which enhances job creation, reduce financial burden for government? If you look at it, the conclusion really, if this conference stops now, the conclusion is that the best way, the lowest hanging fruit for the country is to go the way of public-private partnership. But I am happy that I'm speaking to lawyers. I'm speaking that individuals that are experts at policy formulation, regulatory development, making it in such a way that it will be very beneficial to the nation. It is an area that we actually need the assistance of policy developers, lawyers, legal practitioners, so that our PPP gets to the level of countries like Egypt, countries like South Africa, Rwanda, and so on and so forth, so that investors can have that confidence when they come to contribute to the development of the nation. So PPP creates jobs, it reduces financial burden for government, it improves our infrastructure, and then increases the efficiency. We have the examples. Lekki Deep Sea Port is an example of an infrastructure that ran by the way of PPP. We have the Abuja-Kaduna Rail, which was completed by the Chinese, CCECC. And then we have urbanization and city development. And then we have housing and urban development, digital infrastructure, expanding the broadband, 4G and 5G network, fiber optic infrastructure, and of course, the green infrastructure, which reduces carbon emission to the atmosphere. Energy and power, they are developed better. Water and sanitation. What about transportation? Railway, airports, and so on and so forth. We have opportunities, great opportunities for development in this area. And just before I conclude this paper, the challenges that are there, inadequate funding, which has been mentioned, that means insufficient government allocation, over-dependence on foreign aids, limited private sector involvement because of policies surrounding this that does not really encourage investors to come in, corruption and mismanagement of funds allocated, and the effects of funding includes poor quality infrastructure. We all heard the Minister for Works mentioning that increased costs due to delays, hindrances to economic growth of the nation, and project delays and abandonment. What about bureaucratic red tapes? These are challenges. Complex regulatory frameworks, which I plead with this gathering. Please do something so that the regulatory framework surrounding our development can be made simple. The simpler, the better. It's not the complex nature that we help development. The simpler you make it, the better for us. And I like to plead with this gathering that you loud it the way you always do, so that it will get to appropriate quarters. We have lack of transparency and accountability. The bureaucratic bottlenecks can cause loss of opportunities. Investors are discouraged. They say, why will I waste my time to be doing this? Let me go to another country. Then investor frustration, delayed project execution, and economic losses. We also have challenges of decayed infrastructure. Infrastructure are not what it should be. Challenges of security concerns, challenges of poor leadership commitment, and so on and so forth. The summary of this is that since infrastructure improves the quality of life, I told you we are just on point 548, and if we need to get to point 9, such as countries like Finland, then we have to latch on developing our infrastructure better. And I am happy that I am speaking before people who are very good at policy formulation. At the end of this conference, let it translate to practical development in our society. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Ali. I'm not going to waste time. We're going to go straight on to the DG of BPP, Dr. Adeboale Adedoku. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow participants at this conference. I particularly want to say a big thank you to the organizers. I think in over 10 or 15 years, we've not had this interaction between those of us in the public sector in terms of procurement, as we are seeing today. So I think we would like to acknowledge the effort of the SBL and the entire MBA for inviting us for this very, very important occasion. So I want to say thank you. I also bring you greetings from my colleagues at the Bureau of Public Procurement in Abuja. I have a presentation, but time will not permit me, it can be shared. So I'll be going straight to some practicalities about procurement that will help shape and help us to begin to look at issues and play our strategic role. There are methods of procurement, as been rightly said by our moderator. And I think it's first to let you know that the Public Procurement Act 2007 and the various finance acts that have been passed adequately provides for all forms of procurement methods. What we have been used to in the last couple of years is the traditional procurement methods that says you must go advertise. That is a global. I'm a member of the International Research Group. One of the success stories is public sector procurement, because a lot of private sector people also have their primary aim is profits. So there has to be a mix between the public sector, which is a traditional procurement, and the public sector procurement. In fact, the Act allows government agencies to propose what method will give them the best value for any action or any activity they want to do. Secondly, is to say the law is not the problem. Absolutely, the law is not the problem. The actual problem is compliance. The law is well laid out. It's the human beings that needs to implement those provisions that we need to begin to ask ourselves that question. The law is very clear what needs to be done. Either it's traditional procurement or the other forms of procurement. The question is, do we have the moral, do we have the ethical behavior to do the needful? Now, in every procurement, just as we have said, project procurement and infrastructure financing, you can get the procurement process right. You can even get the funding right. But do you know the biggest problem is contract management? And who are those that were going to manage the contracts? One key component that this august body must address is our contract agreements. The way is the lawyers that prepare the contract agreements. So if infrastructure will succeed in this country, then I challenge this body to take a critical, close look at how our contract agreements are being prepared, negotiated, and signed. That's key. If we're going to have a paradigm shift, if government needs to trust lawyers, lawyers need to help us. No procurement should be completed without addressing that component of agreements. By extension, do you know what happens these days? Contractors, service provider, one of the things they go home with is that, don't worry, if it goes to court, no problem. Because they have a direct relationship with those who draft our contracts. So if we don't embed into our contract agreements, we'll always be having the problems we're all facing today. So I ask, and I want to challenge us this afternoon, that the process is not bad, but the human beings to implement the process we need to address. And I'm happy this afternoon that one of us is here, one of the, I'm sure the secretary for the Association of Procurement Professional Bodies of Nigeria is here. In every procurement process, every professional is represented. The auditors, the accountants, the procurement professionals, the lawyers. There is only one thing that happens. There's a connivance. And until we are able to begin to change our mentality in terms of every individual being accountable, if anybody fails, if an agreement fails, we should ask, who are those responsible? If I, as the DG of BPP, a number of issues have been raised and I will address them, fails to ensure proper pricing of a contract, I should be held accountable because it's on my doorstep. If a contractor who is not meant to be awarded a contract is given and it passes through the corridors of Bureau of Public Procurement, the DG and his team should be called to question. So we begin, part of the major success of this retreat or conference is the key component that we have not addressed, the humanness in the entire process. So I charge us that we need to take a look at that. Project procurement and infrastructural financing starts with what my colleague have said. Clearly defined, what do you want to achieve? So at BPP now, if you send us a request, the first thing I ask is that where is your approved procurement plan? Once I don't see a plan approved, clearly defining what you want to do, when you want to start, how you are going to procure it, what's the timeline, what's the economic benefits, I return that document back to where it comes from. And that has happened in the last 100 days since I assumed duty at the bureau. So a lot of questions are being asked. However, because of time, let me go straight to some challenges. Like my colleague have said, number one is that we need to deal with the funding. Why do I mention funding? A project that is going to last for 3 years, and you have a funding structure, and the first year of that project, the funding cannot even commence the first 30% of the project. That project is likely going to fail. Not only will it fail, it's likely to experience substandard construction because the contractor is forced to begin to cut corners. Second challenge will be to strengthen the regulatory framework. That is, now BPP has introduced a set of standard bidding documents. Just recently, I published it about a couple of weeks ago. Now, this standard bidding document is now going sectorally. That is, we're now going sector-based. You cannot apply the same standard bidding document for the road infrastructure and apply the same thing with women affairs. They don't follow. So now we are going sector-based. That is, there will be bidding documents that addresses roads. There are bidding documents that addresses health sector. There are bidding documents that addresses ICT procurement. Other challenges that I think this conference could look at is also the issue of the risk, whereby a contractor has this feeling that the cost of his project may be compromised by interested parties. We need to find a model in this conference and subsequent ones where we begin to ensure that the loophole, and when I mean loophole, we have the BPP, we have the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, we have the Auditor General of the Federation, and all these people, and then the other anti-corruption agencies such as ICPC, EFCC. There has to be a dashboard that cross-checks how project implementation is being carried out. We don't wait until the damage has been done. We should nib it at the onset. That's why BPP is now trying to deploy a monitoring and evaluation system, real time, whereby every stakeholder can have access, whether the project is located here in Delta, or is located in Calabar, or is located in Kebbi State, or just wherever you are. Let there be live monitoring and reporting system that can checkmate abuses or substandardness in the way projects are being implemented. What are the things are we doing that will help the cost of construction and infrastructure to be well deployed? One is what I call strengthening critical stakeholder collaboration. That is, NBA and BPP should have a strong collaboration in the area of how contracts are prepared, and capacity building would help. Secondly, is open access to procurement records. I want to assure you at this conference that under our watch, we're already preparing how to give you real time. So part of the SGF circular that came out a few weeks ago is that every MDA must report contract processes, records, every end of every month to enable us raise questions about how they are performing and some have started complying. In just 100 days, I've received a lot of agencies submitting. Also, is that we are now introducing what I call price intelligence and benchmarking database. This will enable us monitor prices of projects to also begin to cut down on how projects are either being inflated or underinflated. Thirdly, is that we have also commenced the process of reviewing the Act. I've heard it from ministers, representatives. Yes, a revision is ongoing. Ladies and gentlemen, part of our initiative is now to strengthen professionalism. And that's why we are asking every sector of our economy, engineers, lawyers, for us to join hands together and play our role as it may be this afternoon. Federal government of Nigeria is now going to deploy electronic government procurement system. We will soon be launching it. This will give you an opportunity to be able to see how projects are being planned, being executed, so that you and I can point straight to us what things are not being done well. The other system that will help checkmate abandoned projects and poor construction is what I call recourse mechanism, independent administrative review, that has two components, administrative and as well as criminal. So if we join hands with the Nigerian Bar Association, we begin to ab initio deal administratively with our colleagues who make government or commit government to losing funds. That's very key. All right, my time is up. So in conclusion, lawyers can significantly add value to project completion in the interest of the public. No matter how effective and efficient our procurement contract award processes is, the key success ingredient is how well our lawyers craft the contract agreements. Lawyers are enablers. Lawyers are strategic tool. Lawyers are catalysts. Lawyers are enforcers of every procurement rules and regulation. Public servants or public leaders, they respect you. So we need to work together to ensure that this happens. So what's your take home this afternoon? Our take home is this: if we implement successfully procurement that delivers good works and services to Nigeria, we will reduce poverty, we will attract foreign direct investment without begging, we will reduce youth restiveness, we will promote equality and fairness across all strata of the society. We will reduce insecurity and give hope to our children now and the future generation. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Your Excellency, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, during the opening ceremony, we did say that His Royal Majesty, the Asaba of Asaba, said he will come. He told us yesterday, when we paid him courtesy, that he will come, but he will come after the opening ceremony because he has other engagements this morning. True to his word, he's been with us. May I now have the privilege to introduce him, a man you know so well, one of us, our father, teacher, professor, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Asaba professor, Epiphany Chibogo Azinge, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the 14th Asaba of Asaba. Your Royal Majesty, thank you for attending. You're welcome, sir. We also welcome the chiefs who are with you. Thank you very much. Nago. 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 Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Chairman Leonard SAN. If I may, let me add my welcome to my mentor, the Asagba. He was very kind to me in the past. I'm very happy to see you here today, sir. I'm very grateful to you all the time. I'm grateful, madam. So, because of our time constraints, my fellow speakers next to me here are indicating to me that you cannot limit me in this manner, etc., etc. But there's a clock here. It's showing 20 minutes left. So I think we're going to have a little overrun. But let me ask immediately Dr. Augustine Onwumere to quickly deliver his own presentation, and then we go on to Mr. Uche Wigwe. Thank you very much. 12 minutes only. Thank you. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you.
Good evening, or it's still afternoon. Good afternoon. I hope you're enjoying the conference. I have a very big question. I'm not going to use my slide. I gave them a slide. I'm not going to use it because if I use it 2 hours, I won't be through. I'm going to ask a question to buttress my speech. All protocols observed. The topic I'm supposed to present here is the Nigerian real estate sector and affordable housing in current economy, a mission impossible. The Nigerian real estate sector and affordable housing in the current economy, a mission impossible. It's true, right? You don't have a house in your name, but you want to have a house in your name. Put up your hand. Anywhere in Nigeria. Anywhere in Nigeria. Clap for those that want to have a home. It's mission impossible because the rising cost of materials will never go down. In 2020, I bought cement for 1,800. By the way, my name is Dr. Augustine Onwumere, and I'm into real estate, land in every state in Nigeria. My company, P1, has an estate in every state in Nigeria. In 13 years, we built the largest network of realtors all over Nigeria. We have the largest marketers in the streets of Nigeria through hard work and constant seminars and trainings. It is impossible by the current rising rate of housing for every Nigerian to own a home in their state, in their village, in their community within a space of 1 year. Sometimes it takes years if you start. And the Bible says, who wants to build a house should first of all put down what? The cost down so that he can finish the project. If not, people will what? Laugh at him or her, right? But I have a good news for you. And that is why 12 minutes has been allotted to me. It's called Maxcoop. Let's say it together. Maxcoop. M-A-X-C-O-O-P. The banner is outside. Our stand is outside. Now, I got troubled in 2022. Seriously troubled in my office when I looked at the database of properties, landed properties we have sold in the company called P1. It was numbering over 40,000 plots of land nationwide in one company, not the 73 companies we have. 40,000 plots. And I asked them to tell me how many customers that bought this land are building. Are you with me? I have good news for you. Home ownership can be made easy and possible which is now Mission Possible, by using the cooperative network system called Mascoop, or anybody can start it. Mascoop is a housing cooperative started by P1, I, the president, and about 21 other board members, if I should use that statement. Well, how does Mascoop work? Everybody needs to own a home. You can't live 70 years to 90 years on earth and not have a house. It's an anomaly. What will your children fall back to? Their own, right? Very good. As lawyers. We looked at the rising cost of building materials, because if you look at every house, be it a bungalow, be it a duplex, be it a flat, they all have the same, almost the same formation on the foundation, which is what? Sand, gravel, iron rods, right? Cement, water, and maybe trunks under it. The pillars, the same thing. The roof of most houses, this is almost the same structure. But to build a simple bungalow today, you need at least 10 million naira. And that is if you have it in bulk. Because if you waste time, it will rise to 12 million naira before you are through, or 14 million naira. If you had to have a bungalow in your hands today, that you call your own, that you can collect rent from, 3-bedroom. Actually, the actual cost is 8.6 million on a dry land. The profit is 1.4 million for somebody like me doing the business. So we came up with an idea where if I tell you the price of a bungalow, for instance, to be 10 million, I will give you a space of 2 years to make a contribution of 50% of that 10 million, which is what? 5 million. We build the house for you and give you 4 to 5 years to finish paying the 5 million remaining. You move into your house in a space of 1 year after you get 50% contribution into your cooperative account. Do you understand what I'm saying? And we still give it to you at the same price you started 6 or 7 years before that time. I mean, payments. Do you understand what I'm saying? Is that possible in today Nigeria? Is that possible in today Nigeria? Is that possible today Nigeria? Because what? The price will change. 2020, I bought iron rod, 10 mm for 180,000. 180,000. It's about 1.2 million now. 1 ton. So if you started building 4 years ago, you can't finish it 4 years after. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I would say this is a revolution. And by the way, do you have this paper by your seat? Anybody, everybody? Please just check your seat. We dropped it when you went to have lunch. This is the full information of what I'm talking about. It is very essential that we have this. It should be, if it's not your seat, Rex and Innocent, please come forward with the flyers so that they can go through it. So what is the great idea behind Mascoop? The great idea behind Mascoop is you join, you become a member. It's a global cooperative. It's not only registered, it's registered in Delta State, it's registered in about 11 other states, and we're trying to register it in every state in Nigeria so that we can operate in those states. It's headquarters in Abuja and Lagos. So the idea is when everybody is contributing into the cooperative purse, everybody is contributing small money into the cooperative purse, following the guidelines of cooperative business or partnership, we gather the money together and buy iron rods, for instance, and store it in a warehouse so that the price doesn't rise. Because if you keep the money in the bank, it will continue to depreciate in value. Do you understand that? Does that make sense? So when a lot of people are doing the same thing, like if you remember the story in the Bible where the people were speaking one language and they wanted to build a tower to the heaven because they have one language. Our language is the cooperative. Housing cooperative can help can help to make home, Nigerian real estate sector and affordable housing possible. Whether you like it or not, prices will continue to go up. Bills will continue to go up. Bread is 2,400 today. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2 years' time, bread will be 4,000 naira. Nothing can stop it. In 1975, people were complaining about hardship, right or right. In 1985, people were complaining about things being tough, right or right. Are we not still complaining the same thing? Well, I don't want to go there. What I know is that you must continue to find solutions to the problem at hand, which is affordable housing. Affordable what? Housing. So, do you want to be part of Masscoop? Let me see your hand up, so that we can help you own your own home. Now, the most beneficial part is that with a cooperative in housing, government can give us benefits like title over our landed properties if we come together to own landed properties. And one thing very good about P1 is that we have lands in every state in Nigeria, and we are going to develop them by your cooperation. We are going to find a way to send you bulk SMSs, emails to get you involved. This is a fast-moving train that is solving a problem of home ownership. It is wrong for you to live on earth without owning a home, because God will ask you a question. What did you do on earth with the opportunity I gave you? Thank you very much for being part of this business.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Yes, a little bit more. So, without further ado, our last speaker, Mr. Uche Wigwe. Thank you very much. Please give him a round of applause. Ten minutes.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Our Royal Father, good afternoon. Distinguished guests, colleagues, and industry experts here today. It is indeed a privilege for me to address you guys here today on the topic of very critical importance for Nigerian economy and the infrastructure future. As we all know, construction and infrastructure play a very pivotal role in our national GDP, employment creation, and overall. However, there are challenges, and we all know that. Policy inefficiencies, economic instability, regulatory bottlenecks, just to name a few of the issues that are challenging and bedeviling the construction and infrastructure sector. So today we're here to explore how to strengthen construction laws, policy framework, and improve Nigerian infrastructure development, ensuring project efficiencies and creating a more investment-friendly environment. It goes without saying that infrastructure is actually a bedrock of every nation, and we must understand that as a developing country, moving to the next phase of where we ought to be is with respect to infrastructure. And it is very critical that we have this topic today and we're discussing these issues today. Nigeria has been saddled with a lot of challenges in this sector, and today and right now is the moment that we need to pay very critical and very crucial importance to this particular sector, because it's what's going to move us into the next phase of our development. So currently, I'll just give a general overview. So currently, and it has been said before, Nigeria's total infrastructure stocks amount to only 30% of our gross domestic product, which is considerably a far